Today, I want to speak to you about Hollow Depths, my novel. A story about grief, obsession, and what happens when the search for truth pulls you somewhere you may not return from. What you just saw is a trailer of sorts, something I made based on the prologue of my novel, or as I call it, the Prolegomenon. It is set centuries before the main story. Hollow Depths is not meant to be just another horror story. It's not even meant to be just another cosmic horror tale. It's an artifact of my mythic cosmic horror subgenre. A step into my primordial crossroads universe, and a dark wish of what was, what is, and what will be. Let's start with our protagonist, Klein Donovan III. A historical anthropologist living in rural Massachusetts, in a town called Kiwamsu. His work uncovering the traces of a vanished town, Massachusetts. A place that was disincorporated, dismantled, and left behind in the early 1900s. All that was left were the empty husks of cellars that turned into scars in the earth. A landscape that locals whisper about, but avoid. When a strange visitor arrives in town, Klein's carefully organized life begins to collapse. Grief consumes him, obsession takes root, and he's drawn into the strange orbit of a local family tied to his loss. One filled with secrets and uncertainty. I could go into details on the story itself, but I'm sure it will be more enjoyable to read it for yourselves in due time. Hollow Depths is about a breakdown. Klein's loss and desperation are deeply human, but they become instruments in the hands of forces far beyond just him. Alien, ancient, unfathomable. The story is told through various voices. At first, it reads like a straightforward narrative, but as Klein unravels, so does the text. His thoughts, dreams, journals, visions, and hymns bleed into the page. What can you trust? What is real? These are the questions that form as you read. Horror that's both grounded and vast. One man's grief, framed by a universe that doesn't care whether he survives it, and various people who abuse it. I utilize the shape of the text to enhance the horror, something those who have read House of Leaves might. There are shades of Lovecraft here, incorporating some of his familiar mythos, mainly as a tribute to cosmic horror itself. But I twist it and weave it within the roots of Greek myth, history, science, and my own lore. For example, I did extensive research. I took elements of history, real locations in the state of Massachusetts, and wove my fiction within. I spent a long time shaping the foundation, archival records, Algonquian phonemes, even the disincorporated town of Massatuk, where much of this begins, is patterned after real places that were struck from the map and left to rot in the soil. You won't find Massatuk in a guidebook, but its bones are there. Hollow cellars swallowed by trees, names erased from memory. It's in that silence where the story takes root. Beyond that, I created an alternate history that ties into Greek migration, the Roanoke colony, and much more that, while not central to the novel itself, is foundational to how things became as they are. I made a point to merge the intimate with the infinite, to make the cosmic feel personal and the personal feel alien. Every detail in Hollow Depths is part of a larger architecture. I've mentioned that before. The rituals, the supplicants, the family, the ruined town, they are more than backdrops. They are the backbone of an interconnected universe I've been building. And the beauty of it all is that you don't need to know any of that to begin. When I write, I try to place readers at the edge of the unknowable, close enough to feel it, but never far enough to escape it. Hollow Depths is one piece of a larger mosaic, but it stands on its own. The story may follow one man, one grief, but every shadow carries echoes of older tragedies, older truths. They surface in fragments, a letter, a hymn, a symbol carved into stone. None of them tell the whole story, but together they hint at something vast, something that refuses to stay buried. If you want to dig deeper, the doors are there. Tales from the Crossroads, the social media posts, a lot of my other short stories. There's a lot. But you can also enjoy just the individual novel itself. One thread in the novel whispers of those who gathered in secret. Worshippers who believed they could bend the fabric of the world. Their rites were hidden in the woods, their voices raised to figures older than history. If you look at the geography of Massachusetts closely, you'll see that certain towns fall along strange intersections. And not just Massachusetts. Ley lines. These lines, or ones such as them, converge in Massachusetts. And in Hollow Depths, the landscape itself becomes a witness, and sometimes an accomplice. Whether you just want an intriguing tale of a man, the atmosphere of a complex and expansive world, or the beginning of the journey into my universe, you can find it all here. Starting today, I'm beginning to post fragments of Hollow Depths on my Substack, starting with the first page of Prolegomenon, what inspired that video we started with. More will follow, much more. The novel is ready. I wish I could just throw it out there and have you read it. But I've put way too much time and way too much effort to treat it with that kind of disregard. So allow me to let it trickle. And as you trickle in, I will give you more pieces. I never set out to write a safe story. Horror has been dulled by repetition, by tropes, by mediocrity. I wanted to create something that unsettles not only with what it shows, but with what it refuses to explain. A story that lingers like a splinter in the mind. If it inspires fear, good. If it sparks curiosity, even better. But if it leaves you with questions that won't leave you alone, that is the true purpose of Hollow Depths. So if you're ready to explore, the path is open. It has been for a while. Descend these hollow